And we are back. So phase one, remember we tested relative strength, some of the easier metrics, more for our beginners. Phase two, we increased those standards slightly, made everything a little more difficult, added some external load to some things to increase that challenge. But we're here for phase three. We're here for absolute strength, the body's ability to move load, external load, through that sheer force, some bone density, all those positives. So let's dive in. And remember, these tests are not medical prescriptions. They're standards. They're goals for us to try to achieve to motivate you. So make sure you're using weights that you feel comfortable with. Make sure you're getting a good warm up in and only do movements that you know you feel safe to do. If some of these aren't applicable to you, make sure you're skipping them. We can go back to some of those relative strength tests for now. And for those of you that don't know, absolute strength is the measure of the force against external load that you're applying. So if I squat 200 and someone that weighs 100 pounds less than me squats 200, we would have the same absolute strength. We're going to break this down and put our body weight into that to make it a little more fair across the board, more standardized. But again, absolute strength, if you squat 400, I squat 300, technically your absolute strength is higher. And it's going to show the raw capacity of your joints, ligaments, nervous system as you apply that load across the body. And that's obviously going to show up in balance. That's going to show up in those longevity markers that we obviously want to achieve long term. And the studies show that after 30, you're going to lose about 1% of your absolute strength per year. But if we resistance train, if we set a high standard, we can cut that down and make it way less. And remember, as you get older, doing a true 1RM starts to become a little bit dangerous. So we're gonna pick a weight that you feel comfortable to do between 3 and 10 reps with. We're gonna do a rep max test with those. So we do want it to be a 10 out of 10 by that last rep in terms of RPE. And then we're gonna use this next table to kind of gauge that estimated 1RM. All right, so here's some research just showing we want to be in that 3 to 10 rep range. As we get higher than 10 reps, we start getting into a period of less accuracy, so looking for that sweet spot between 3 and 10. And then here's our chart for later. We have reps completed. You'll multiply that by the middle column, and that'll give you your estimated 1RM. And then we have our tier interpretation here. Just wanted to point out that the excellence is going to be for those people that have lifted their entire lives, maybe been a power lifter at some point. Nothing wrong with average or good here. You just trained less strength training your entire life. All right, our first test is going to be that back squat, obviously a lower body strength indicator here. Excellent is 200% body weight for men in their 20s, 150% for women. Expect about a 10 to 50% drop per decade if you maintain consistent training. And then next up is upper body pressing strength here with the bench press. Goal is to stay above 100% or your body weight well into your 50s. Make sure we're getting that full range of motion. All right, the deadlift, little grip, spine, and hip strength, one of the strongest predictors of functional longevity. Aim to hold 2 times your body weight in your 20s, 1.5 times in your 50s, 1.2 in your 70s, and don't be afraid to switch up your modality in terms of a trap bar or sumo stance if you need to. Next is that overhead press. We're going to test shoulder and trunk integration. Make sure you're keeping your glutes tight. Make sure you're trying to keep that rib cage down as best you can to prevent that rib flare. All right, our last one's going to be that weighted step up, a safe, functional, unilateral lower body exercise. Research from Bain and Nelson show a 12-inch height predicts best lower body strength and balance. Use that height across all tests, stay consistent. Excellent is 85% body weight in men, 60% in women. In their 20s, you're down to 30% body weight in your 80s. All right, and then scoring remains the same overall. Make sure you're sharing those scores in the comments. Now remember, absolute strength is what's going to help you carry the groceries, climb stairs, not slip and fall as you age. So it's not about lifting forever. It's about staying capable forever and making sure that you can live the best and longest life possible. And remember not to chase those 20-year-old numbers. We want to hang on to our strength as long as possible. So if in your 70s, you're still doing 80% of what you did in your 20s and 30s, you're elite. Now, if you're just getting started, make sure you go back. Do the relative tests, phase 1, phase 2, and then come back here and hit those absolute strength metrics. Share this video with a friend. Comment your scores in the chat. Let's get stronger together. Let's redefine what strong looks like as we age. Thank you for watching. Hit a like, hit a subscribe. Never settle with yesterday. See you in the next one.